What if the land could speak back? High on the Northumberland Moors, above the quiet village of Elsdon, there are old stories of a figure who does not haunt houses, but guards the land itself. They say if you trespass, if you take more than you should, he will find you. A small man, as brown as the earth, with eyes full of judgment. This is not a fairy tale. This is a warning passed down through generations. Tonight I'm telling you the true Northumberland folklore of the brown man of the Elsdon Moors, and once you hear it, you may never walk the moors the same way again. What if the land could speak back? High on the Northumberland Moors, above the quiet village of Elsdon, there are old stories of a figure who does not haunt houses, but guards the land itself. They say if you trespass, if you take more than you should, he will find you. A small man, as brown as the earth, with eyes full of judgment. This is not a fairy tale. This is a warning passed down through generations. Tonight I'm telling you the true Northumberland folklore of the brown man of the Elsdon Moors, and once you hear it, you may never walk the moors the same way again. Welcome back, dear listeners, to another bone-chilling episode of Shell's Spooky Stories. I'm your host, Shell, and tonight we begin something new. This is the first in a brand new series dedicated to Northumberland folklore. The old stories, the whispered warnings, and the beings that existed long before ghost hunting equipment. And long before we thought the land belonged to us. This story takes us high above the village of Elsdon, on the wild, wind-scoured moors of Northumberland. This land has always known violence and unrest. Not far from here lies the site of the Battle of Otterburn. On Gallow Hill, captured reivers were once hung as warnings against lawlessness. And at Winter's Stop, a man named William Winter was left dangling in full view of passers-by. The Moors remember everything, and perhaps that is why something ancient still watches over them. Many years ago, two young men travelled up from Newcastle. They came to the moors above Elsdon for sport, rifles in hand, game at their waists, enjoying what they believed was a harmless day of hunting. As the afternoon sun warmed the heather, they climbed to the top of Gallow Hill and stopped to eat. Laughter carried away by the wind, but it was when the younger of the two wandered down to Green Glen Burn for a drink that everything changed. As he bent to drink from the clear water, something moved on the far side of the stream. At first he couldn't make it out. Then he saw him. A small, stout man staring directly at him, clothed in brown, the exact shade of withered bracken and moorland earth. His hair wild red and frizzled like dried heather in the sun. The young man realised with a sinking dread that he was not looking at a person at all. He was face to face with the brown man of the moors. They stood in silence, locked in each other's gaze. The longer it went on, the more uneasy the young man became, because the brown man's expression grew darker, fiercer, judging. Then the brown man spoke.
"Who do you think I am?"
His voice was low, not angry, but powerful. The young man, trembling, replied,
"You are the Lord of the Moors."
The brown man's eyes narrowed.
"And what do you think you are doing trespassing on my land, slaying my creatures without thought or consideration, when all I eat is nuts, seeds, and berries?"
He gestured to the moor itself, to the cloudberries, bilberries, and whortleberries growing freely around them. Terrified, the young man swore he meant no harm. He promised to take his game and never shoot again on the brown man's land. Something shifted. The brown man's expression softened, and then he said something chilling.
"Come over here, and I will show you something."
The young man stepped towards the burn, preparing to jump across the water, when suddenly a shout rang out from above.
"What are you doing down there?"
It was his friend, waving from the bank. The young man turned back towards the stream. The brown man was gone. No footprints, no sound, just empty moorland stretching out before him. Shaken, he scrambled back up the hill and told his friend everything. His friend went pale.
"It's just as well you didn't jump. The water was the only thing protecting you. He would have torn you apart."
That evening, the two men stayed at the Bird in Hand Inn. They shared their story with the locals and were met with uneasy murmurs. Some said the brown men eat people. Others said they exist only to keep folk in line. but everyone agreed on one thing: you do not cross them. That night, the younger man's side began to ache, a sharp, unexplained pain. By morning, it had worsened. They abandoned their hunting trip and returned to Newcastle, but the pain never left. Despite doctors, despite treatments, within 6 months, the young man was dead. So what was the brown man of the Elsdon Moors? A fairy, a nature spirit, a guardian of ancient lore, or simply the land itself, taking offence? Across Britain we find these figures again and again. Not playful fairies but enforcers, beings who punish greed, who demand respect. So if you ever find yourself walking the high moors of Northumberland, watch where you step, watch what you take, because some land is not empty, and some guardians never left. Thank you for joining me for this first tale in our Northumberland Folklore series. If you'd like more stories like this, the old ones, the forgotten ones, make sure you're following Shell's Spooky Stories. Until next time, dear listeners, stay safe, respect the land, and keep your lights on. And if that tale gave you chills, don't forget to feed the spirits. Hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss a haunting, and share this story with your bravest friends, the ones who don't mind a ghost or two, whispering their name at night. Your support helps keep the veil thin and the stories flowing. Until next time, stay spooky, stay curious, and whatever you do,
don't look behind you.